Here's Michael at the foul line. A shot on the end.
3 years have passed, and the words still echo. A decisive shot that crushed the hearts of the fans and the dreams of the Cleveland Cavaliers, eliminating them from the playoffs. Now they meet again, and for Craig Ehlo, a chance for redemption. But in game one, it was Michael Jordan again, leaving the Clevelanders stunned and bewildered. Were we about to witness another Cavalier nightmare? Redemption came in game two as Craig Ehlo went right at Michael Jordan, at times handcuffing the three-time MVP, taking the air out of the defending world champions. Now the pressure to win is on Michael Jordan. And though the nightmare of these shots still haunts the Cleveland faithful, a win today over Jordan moves the Cavs one step closer to their ultimate dream.
Here's what we want. Give him the ball. Back
This is the NBA on NBC. The 1992 NBA playoffs. Today, Game 3 of the Eastern Conference Finals between the Chicago Bulls and the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Green puck. That's us.
Well, after Cleveland was beaten in game one of this series last Tuesday, all they heard was how soft they were. They were referred to as marshmallows, green puffs, certainly in comparison to the physical play of the Knicks against the Bulls. So the marshmallow tag has emerged as the battle cry of Cleveland Cavalier fans. Hi, everybody. I'm Marv Albert, along with the czar of the Telestrator, Mike Fratello. And Mike, in effect, the hearts, the manhood of the Cavaliers was put to the challenge by fans and the media. And the Cavaliers certainly were able to respond and turn it around in game number 2 on Thursday.
Well, to use those type of words to describe a team that won 57 games during the regular season is almost ridiculous. They just show their heart in a different way. And the guy who leads this team in heart is Brad Daugherty. He played a terrific series against Boston with a badly sprained ankle. Is averaging over 25 points per game against Chicago. And his numbers in the playoffs are better than they were during the regular season. And this is very unusual because during the playoffs, normally your numbers go down.
As for the Chicago Bulls, first the injury report, and as we mentioned earlier, both Michael Jordan and Bill Cartwright are okay. Both in the starting lineup. Cartwright bothered by the strained back, but he said he'll be able to go. And with the Bulls showing some vulnerability in the playoffs, you get the idea that this is not the same Chicago team that steamrolled its way to the championship a year ago. Now, have other clubs improved so much, or are other teams around the NBA now better prepared for the Bulls?
Well, one thing Chicago is learning, that the crown is very heavy to wear. The lengthy playoff series take its toll both physically and mentally. If you go back a year ago, their 15-2 record in the playoffs was second best in the history of the playoffs for 4 rounds. Already, after 2 rounds plus this year, an 8-4 record, 4 losses, way above last season's total. And when you look for numbers that have dropped dramatically, points per game down almost 17, field goal percentage down, and free throw percentage down in the low 70s. So the Bulls certainly have some areas of concern.
All right, for a feel of the locker room move, let's go over to Rashad.
All right, Marv. Now, I visited the Chicago Bulls locker room, and it was as quiet as I have ever seen it. Obviously, thank you, Dick Bavetta, who was handing me the ball. It was as quiet as I'd ever seen it. Obviously, the players were a little bit embarrassed by by their play the other night. I talked to Scottie Pippen about his ability to not play against a physical defense. I asked him that. He said, well, I will let my actions speak for myself today. So they're ready to go, and I think they're ready to get this one game going so they can forget about the last one. Marv?
All right, Ahmad, and this crowd is certainly ready. It is one of the loudest in the NBA. When we come back, game 3 of the best of 7.
The NBA on NBC is brought to you by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? By the people at Nike, who encourage you to just do it. And by cold-filtered Miller Genuine Draft and Miller Genuine Draft Light, taking the country by storm.
Capacity crowd, better than 20,000 here at the Coliseum in Richfield. A look at the Chicago starting lineup. John Paxson, Michael Jordan in the backcourt, Horace Grant, and Scottie Pippen on the front line. And Bill Cartwright, despite the strained lower back, starting at center. The coach of the Bulls, Phil Jackson. And the Cavaliers with a backcourt of Mark Price and Craig Ehlo. Larry Nance and Mike Sanders are up front. And Brad Daugherty, who has had a sensational playoff, the starting center. And there's the coach of the Cleveland Cavaliers, a native of Brooklyn, 54 years old, in his 6th season as Cavalier coach. Lenny Wilkens, Hall of Fame player, over an outstanding 15-year career. The officials, Jake O'Donnell, Dick Pavetta, and Steve Javi. And this is now a 5-game series with 3 to be played here at the Coliseum, with the Cavaliers managing to come up with a victory in Chicago on Tuesday. In game 1, the Bulls came out, hit 15 of their first 20 shots, opened up a 20-point lead before halftime, and were never caught. But game 2 in Chicago won in a romp by Cleveland, 107-81. At one time, Cleveland led by 35 points. The Bulls missed their first 13 shot attempts. The first field goal scored by Scottie Pippen with 3:36 left in the first quarter. So Chicago controls the opening tip.
And let's see if Chicago goes back to its standard way of starting a game by getting the ball to Bill Cartwright with the bad back, or do they start a different direction?
The pass is got it for Pippen. Nance broke it up. Great Ehlo for Brad Daugherty. Oh, nice fake by Daugherty. Cartwright looked the other way. And Jordan able to tip it to Grant.
Well, Daugherty is a guy they just can't handle straight up. They've got to come and double team him. It's when they come that's the big decision for Chicago.
Grant from Pippen. Nice pass from Pippen. Mark Price, played by John Paxson. We're just underway at the Coliseum. Cartwright stepping out to cut off the pass. Was fouled by Sanders.
That may be the hardest foul so far in this series between these two teams. Pippen with the obvious path to the basket there. Sanders not going to let him get an easy layup early in the game. Takes a hard foul. Scottie leading the break, turns the corner. Now Sanders knows he's in trouble. There, the body and the arm knocking him off balance. They've stayed away from extra hard fouls. I think obviously the concern after the Knicks series, but there are certain points where the Cavaliers are just not going to let people waltz to the basket for scores.
Pippen shaken up. The Bulls take the 22nd timeout. Well, we talked a moment ago about the problems the Bulls have had, the poor shooting in game number 2. Take a look at this rundown and compare what the Bulls did during the regular season with this series.
Well, the triangle offense has been mentioned so many times for Chicago in producing great shot opportunities, but bottom line is when you have a Paxson, Jordan, and Pippen that continually knock out the perimeter shots, then almost any offense is good. When they're not shooting well, they struggle like any other team.
So Pippen to the line. Let's check in with Ahmad.
All right, Marv. During that last play, Scottie Pippen jammed his left hand. The trainer, Chip Schaefer, was taking a look at it. It appears that he's all right. He's still in the game, but he really was in pain during that last timeout. Mark?
Scottie Pippen told us last night he's also still bothered by the sprained right ankle and has been taking treatments, for the most part, Whirlpool and ice. Bulls 4 and the Cavaliers nothing. Price working off the pick, but Paxson able to stay with him. Here's Price.
If there were two big areas that jumped out, it was the Daugherty matchup against Cartwright and then the Paxson-Price matchup. Toughness needed by Paxson.
Michael Jordan getting the good shot opportunity to drill it home for a 6-0 Chicago advantage. Ehlo. Gaining the inside position.
Michael Jordan mentioned to us earlier today that one of the important things for Chicago was a very good start in this building, particularly because of the crowd, and then to let the Cavaliers know this is a different Chicago team today.
Jordan to the board and extends to an 8-2 Chicago lead. It was so unusual to see Jordan come out early to shoot around. You may recall several years ago, at times Michael Jordan would come out. The thought that he would come into the game ready, and during that stretch, Jordan would get off very quickly. Ehlo tried the three-point attempt. Other times he felt he was better off not coming out early to shoot. Pippen able to rush by Sanders, and he set up Grant. And Lenny Wilkens wants a timeout, so the Bulls have come out fast. They've hit 4 of 5 from the field, and they lead by the score of 10-2.
Well, Jordan is taking things into his own hands, whether it be at the offensive end by knocking down open jump shots, getting good screens from his teammates, or going to the glass, trying to produce second shot opportunities, follow-up scores for the Chicago Bulls.
With the timeout, we'll pause for these words. Well, as we mentioned a moment ago, it's so unusual for Michael Jordan to come out and shoot early prior to the normal team warm-up, and we talked about that with Michael.
Well, I hadn't touched the basketball since the last game, and I had a day off, and we really didn't have an opportunity to get over early and shoot this morning. So it's just to get a feel of the ball back, and you know, just get my rhythm back with my shot, because I really didn't shoot the ball particularly well last game, and I don't want to have those thoughts in my mind going into such a crucial game like this.
Great players do whatever necessary to help turn it around, to help make them a better player or help a team win, whether it's in baseball, taking extra batting practice, or in basketball, coming out and doing your pregame shooting. Michael Jordan gets it done.
And Michael, bothered by the sore throat and the flu, sent home from Thursday morning shoot-around, did play in the game on Thursday, missed 9 of his first 10 shots and went 7 of 22 from the field.
Already we see Chicago taking its defense, extending it, trying to use up more time on the 24-second clock, perhaps trying to wear down Mark Price a little bit and bringing the ball up versus pressure.
The Bulls off to the 10-2 lead.
I think there's a statement here. Michael Jordan playing Mark Price. They don't want to give Price any easy looks at the basket, taking the pressure off Paxson, putting him on Ehlo.
The ball remains in possession of Cleveland. It hit under the backboard, but was touched last by Chicago. So the Cavaliers get it back. This is the first time the Cavaliers have advanced beyond the first round since back in 1976. Had a terrific regular season. They won 57, lost 25. Paxson with the steal. Paxson with the lead for Jordan, and he's fouled by Price. And Cleveland in the playoffs knocked off the New Jersey Nets in 4 in that best of 5, and then defeated Boston in 7. Foul on Price, sending Jordan to the line, and the Chicago Bulls 14 for 23 from the line. Among their many problems on Tuesday night, they were 19 for 19 in game 1. One of the flaws with this team has been at the foul line, where they are 18th in the league.
Well,
they continued in the middle of the season down the stretch run to drop lower in the standings in free throw shooting, wound up just over 74% as a team during the regular season. That's going to be a problem in those particularly close games.
Nance and Grant with the rebound. Here's Pippen. The Bulls with a 12-2 lead on the Cavaliers. Jordan from deep. Sanders lost it, but it will be Cleveland ball. Cartwright trying to save it. Stepped out. Now the crowd trying to urge the Cavaliers on. Daugherty. Cavaliers have hit 1 of 6 from the field. Here's Ehlo. It counts, according to Ehlo, but Jake O'Donnell says no. It is a foul against Chicago, but the Cavaliers do not get the call on the continuation. Cartwright picks up the personal.
And Jake O'Donnell saying that the foul took place way before Craig Ehlo was in the act of shooting. Therefore, you can't count the basket. You give him the ball out of bounds on the side.
It began at the start of the drive as Cartwright clipped him. Ehlo for 3. Reach-in foul on Mike Sanders.
Right now, the Chicago Bulls are on the glass, rebounding the basketball defensively, and you've got Jordan and Grant flying down the floor with Pippen leading the fast break.
Well, one of the best 6 men of the NBA, John Hot Rod Williams, has come on, replacing Mike Sanders, who is noted for his defensive work. The matchup is Williams on Pippen. Pippen with the fake, went to the scoop, rebounded by Nance. Here's Price. Cavaliers not getting good shots. Pippen extends to a 14-2 Chicago lead.
When you have great perimeter shooters that knock them out from downtown, if they're having an off afternoon or an off evening, there's a lot of long rebounds, which gives Chicago a chance to run out on the fast break.
And Cleveland has opened up by hitting only 1 of its first 8 from the field. Here's that long rebound that you mentioned.
They just inverted. Paxson stayed in, got the rebound. Pippen said, I'm gone, just find me in transition.
So the 22nd timeout is taken by the Cavaliers. 7:24 remaining in this first quarter. The Chicago Bulls, as it turns out, have had major problems in the first quarter.
Well, they certainly had problems in game number 2 of this series, but the statement that Jordan made, our team has to come out early, they've done it so far this afternoon.
Light pressure by the Bulls. Now they drop back, allowing Daugherty to move it across. The Bulls 14, but Cavaliers 2. Williams getting good position, and then through the foul.
Well, Hot Rod Williams just has such a size advantage over Scottie Pippen. What they're doing is taking Daugherty, moving him outside, and now their post-up guy will be Hot Rod to see if they can get Scottie in foul trouble or draw that double team and then kick out to their open perimeter guys.
Non-shooting foul. 5 minutes gone by in this first quarter. Grant jumping out to help on Price. Nance with the open shot. And the Bulls all over the board. There's Paxson for 3. The Bulls 17 and the Cavaliers 2.
This is not to say that Cleveland's not ready to play this afternoon, but the Bulls have taken their game and elevated it early to a different level. They are way above the rim rebounding. They're out in transition, filling the lanes. There's great movement quickness in the Bulls this afternoon.
Daugherty for Williams, and he's fouled. Pippen got him from behind. The Bulls continue to effectively double and triple up on Brad Daugherty. So Hot Rod Williams to the free throw line.
Brad Daugherty knows that when the ball is in his hands, he commands a double team. If they can establish one other player down low that also commands that double team, it should eventually open up the Mark Price, Craig Ehlo perimeter game. But the Bulls have made a decision here today that Mark Price is not getting off early. They are chasing him. If he comes off screens, they're stepping out, doubling him early. They want him to have a real tough afternoon.
Cleveland Cavaliers are the second best free throw shooting team in the NBA, right behind the Boston Celtics. Here's Paxson. The Bulls 19 and the Cavaliers 2. So while Cleveland has hit only 1 of 9 from the field, the Bulls 7 for 10. A long time between field goals for the Cleveland Cavaliers.
And that was a very difficult shot. Price had to make that over Horace Grant, who had stepped out off the screen to help his teammate.
Cartwright. The Chicago Bulls on fire. They now lead it 21-4. Back in game 2 on Thursday in the first quarter, the Cavaliers led the Bulls in one stretch 20-6. Here's Jordan with the steal. And he's fouled by Ehlo. Nearly hit. Despite the fact that Ehlo grabbed him.
Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen were named to the all-defensive team in the NBA. Michael Jordan does it a number of ways. He can play you straight up. He can get that hand in there for the flick, or he can block shots. Loves to do it from behind. And then when he's out in front, all you can do is hope to hold and hang on.
And there you see the NBA's 1992 all-defensive team. Dumars and Jordan in the backcourt. The Bulls 23 and the Cavaliers 4. Just under 5 minutes to go. In this first quarter, it has been all Chicago. Daugherty getting inside. Jordan met by Nance. Jordan went to the left hand. Jordan looks to get it out. Crowd wanted a travel. Michael Jordan. Last touch by Cleveland. Here's John Battle inserted by Lenny Wilkens. Cavaliers looking for some instant offense. He replaces Craig Ehlo.
And John Battle, part of the normal regular season rotation, did not play in game 1 of the playoffs. Lenny Wilkens wanted to go with Mike Sanders as a big guard. Went back to him in game 2.
Oh, what a move by Grant. Third opportunity. He's able to hit. Horace Grant, a one-man show on that sequence. The Bulls 25, the Cavs 4. And Pippen accelerates, and he was fouled. Now we've reached a situation where the Cavaliers are getting some decent shots, but not able to hit.
And getting the extra effort, not from just Michael Jordan or Scottie Pippen. You can see each one of the starters for the Chicago Bulls determined to come out here early this afternoon and take control of this basketball game. And it's obvious by the score that they are in sync, on top of their game.
Foul committed by Hot Rod Williams. Scottie Pippen off to a very nice start. 4 points, 3 assists, 3 rebounds. He's 2 of 3 from the foul line. The Bulls 26. The Cavaliers 4. Just under 4 minutes remaining in this first quarter. Battle being played by Jordan. Paxson hit the floor. And the foul is called on Chicago, away from the ball. It's on Pippen, his second.
Underneath the basket, away from the ball, picking up the foul.
Now the crowd getting impatient. formation with the Cavaliers offense. Battle. Nance had it knocked away, and it touched the top of the backboard. Last contact made by Jordan, so the Cavaliers get a new 24.
And the concern has to be, how do we make up 22 points quickly when we're down this much in the first quarter? Well, it starts with defensive stops for Cleveland, and then you must get on the glass and defensive rebound and get some transition scores. Being out-rebounded 14-2 at this point in the basketball game. Chicago dominating the glass.
Cavaliers 2 of 13 from the field. Cliff Livingston has checked in for the first time, and Price hits the three. Mark Price from downtown. The Bulls lead 26-7.
And you can see Horace Grant step out and challenge Mark Price, but he just got there a little bit too late.
Jordan off the spin. Michael Jordan over John Battle. Bulls 28, Cavaliers 7.
Once they recognize that Battle was matched up against Jordan, they feel he gives up too many inches and not strong enough to guard Jordan. They went to their isolation. Michael backed them down, shot over the top.
Here's Daugherty going to the hook, and he's fouled by Cartwright. Cartwright called for his second. Well, thus far this afternoon, the Chicago Bulls doing a complete turnaround on the Cavaliers. On Thursday night, the Cavs led 30-14 at the end of one. And look at what has taken place to this point here today. Chicago with a 28-7 advantage.
A moment ago on defense, Chicago knows that Daugherty likes to come to the middle of the floor. Normally you trap from here, or you trap from here, or you trap from here. But taking a page out of last year's book, they've gone back to their old defense. They're going to try and make him turn baseline and put him in a double team, a la what they did to Magic Johnson a year ago. Trapping from the baseline for Chicago.
Standing ovation from this capacity crowd, 20,000 plus, trying to get the home team back into it. Mike, I know you were curious as you look at the scoreboard. You see the Cavaliers with only 7 points, the fewest points in the first quarter of an NBA playoff game. 8 by Utah against the LA Lakers, May 8th, 1988. Mr. Stats, Elliot Cal, checking the record books in feverish fashion. So that will stand as the Cavaliers now have 9 points.
And now Cleveland extending their defense, trying to keep the ball out of John Paxson's hands, make somebody else bring it up. Perhaps they can force a few turnovers, use up some time off that clock. But they've got to get the basketball back so they have an opportunity to get some scores.
Jordan putting the move on Battle. And the Cavaliers usually go one-on-one with Michael Jordan. They have not doubled up. Here's Price. That's his third field goal. He has 7.
A little bit of what you would call a hurry-up offense that time. In transition after the Chicago score, just set a screen for Price in transition and let him try and get a shot.
Well, Hot Rod Williams did leave his man, Horace Grant, to try and help out on Jordan, and Grant was able to hit the jumper.
I never got a chance to get back to that point, Mark, but they made an adjustment from game 1 to game 2 and how they were going to play Jordan on the pick-and-roll situations. They know they need help there.
Nice pass, Williams. Not able to hit, but he was pushed by Grant. And Hot Rod Williams will go back to the line. Minute 43 to go in this first quarter. And the Bulls lead 32-11. They've changed the foul. It's Livingston, not Grant. Williams missed his first 2 from the line. And here's Mike Sanders replacing Larry Nance, who was very quiet in this first quarter.
Mark, for Cleveland in game number 1, when they struggled against Chicago, Brad Daugherty was limited to only 13 field goal attempts. In game 2, when they dominated Chicago, Daugherty was the focal point. They need to get the ball into his hands. So far, only 3 shot attempts this game.
Michael Jordan has 14, so he has come out in furious fashion in this opening quarter. Price blocked by Paxson. John Paxson collecting his first.
And this looks very similar to what Michael Jordan did in game number 7 against New York. Made a decision to come out, lead his team by example, dominate the first quarter of play. He's taken over.
Michael Jordan, 5 out of 8 from the field, 4 for 4 from the line for his 14 points. Mark Price, the #1 free throw shooter in the NBA. Here's B.J. Armstrong replacing John Paxson, who leads with 5 points. Mark Price was just under 95% at the line. Second best in NBA history, next to Calvin Murphy's 95.8 back in the 1980-81 season. Jordan. And kept alive by Armstrong. The Bulls have been on almost every loose ball here in the first quarter.
Well, coming into this game, a 37-24 advantage for Chicago on the offensive glass. Part of the reason because Cleveland is such a good shot blocking team, they're not able to box out as well.
Offensive foul charged to Jordan.
You know, the fans eventually get tired of seeing Michael Jordan beat up the team by himself, so any advantage that he tries to get, like a forearm in the face, they love it.
Mark Price trying to shoot the Cavaliers back into it. He's hit his last 3. He has 11. The Bulls with a 34-16 lead. Cartwright set the pick. Cartwright open. Price set the clock. Down to 20 seconds remaining in the first quarter.
Game number 2 ended. The end of the first quarter with Cleveland up 30-14. Here we are now. Tables turned a little bit, 34-16 as the clock runs down. 34-18.
Final seconds of the quarter. Jordan for 3. Yes! Michael Jordan concluding the first quarter by hitting the three-pointer. Afterward here at the Coliseum. The Bulls 37 and the Cavaliers 18. Michael Jordan finishing with 17 points for this first quarter as Michael was able to line drive it home right on target.
Rashad back here at the Richfield Coliseum, and I'm now joined by Mark Price's father, Denny Price. And Denny, Mark led the league in free throw percentage, and he credits that all to you.
Well, I used to get on the NBA when we watch the games and say, guy making that much money ought to be able to make a free throw. So I think he decided to work on it.
And it carried over. He's making that much money, and he's making free throws.
Right.
All right, thanks for joining me, Dennis. Mark.
Artemon and Mark Price, also the NBA's all-time leading playoff free throw shooter at 94%. Price gives it up to Williams. Last touch by Chicago. Dick Pavetta makes the call as we get started in the second quarter. The Bulls with a 37-18 lead on the Cavaliers. Cleveland shot only 6 of 17 in the first quarter, while Chicago 14 of 23, 61%. Here's Sanders, rebounded by Daugherty. Yes, and it counts.
Well, if they can just get the big guy going, it might be one of the big reasons this game turns around a little bit in Cleveland's favor. Offensive rebounds, layups, free throws, whatever it takes to get them off.
Daugherty completing the three-point play. Bulls now with a 37-21 lead. Cavaliers went 2 of their first 13 from the floor and then hit their last 4 to close out the first quarter. Beautiful pass. That won't count. The pass was a gorgeous one from Pippen. Jordan not able to hit, and then offensive interference call.
Dick Pavetta saying that the basketball was in the cylinder when it was touched, therefore he takes the basket away.
In the first quarter, Chicago out-rebounded Cleveland an astounding 16-3. Daugherty drawing the double team, and his pass picked off. Foul committed by Price.
And again, that time because Daugherty saw the double team coming along the baseline. But a moment ago, when the shot went up on the rim and Cartwright fouled, if it's in the cylinder when he touches it, it's no good. That time, Pavetta felt that the bounce was up and down. Even with the iron, took the basket away.
And Bill Cartwright able to hang in. He's gone all the way. Starting the game, he was a question mark because of a sprained lower back. Played only 6 minutes in game 2 on Thursday night. Pippen with the open shot. Nice ball movement by the Bulls, and they lead 39-21.
Well, first, Cartwright's still on the floor because they don't want to sit him down and let that back tighten up where he has a problem with it. The double team of Michael Jordan produces an open shot for Scottie Pippen, and the way he makes those perimeter shots, you got to make some tough decisions on whether to play Jordan straight up or not.
Brad Daugherty now 1 of 5 from the field. Armstrong and Jordan in the backcourt. Cartwright with Pippen and Grant up front. Pippen, yes. Scottie Pippen with 9. Bulls 41 and the Cavaliers 21.
Well, 2 possessions ago, Pippen knocks it out from the right corner. They come right back and run a play for him to get a 15-foot jumper, and he knocks the next one down.
B.J. Armstrong called for the foul. Here's Craig Ehlo returning. And a timeout being taken. The rookie Terrell Brandon about to check in, led by Michael Jordan, who has 17. The Bulls lead by 20.
The NBA on NBC is brought to you by Jeep and Eagle, a division of the Chrysler Corporation, proud sponsor of the 1992 U.S. Olympic team. By Castrol, engineered for today's smaller cars. And by Ship Tracer, it traces every curve on your face.
A reminder, tomorrow the Western Conference final will continue as you look at the brackets, bringing Portland and Utah together with the winner, of course, to go against the winner between Cleveland and Chicago in the NBA championship. And we'll be on hand starting at 3 p.m. Eastern time with Bob Costas, Quinn Buckner, and the crew with Showtime, 12 noon Pacific. The Jazz with a rally to beat the Blazers last night, 97-89, to make it a 2-1 lead on the best of 7 for Portland. How about Karl Malone? 39 points to lead the way.
But a big 18-point turnaround for the Jazz. Down by 10, turn around and wind up winning by 8.
Craig Ehlo with his second bucket. It's the Bulls 41 and the Cavaliers 23 with 2:20 gone by. In the second, Marv Albert with the czar of the Telestrator, Mike Pacello, along with the line Rashad from the Coliseum in Richfield. Good defensive sequence by the Cavaliers. Daugherty reaching over and knocked it out of bounds.
Because Chicago has so many active bodies, it's difficult right now for Cleveland to get a clean defensive rebound and start some type of transition game. But the objective here is, with over 9 minutes remaining, chip away, get this thing down by halftime to a manageable score, and then regroup in the second half.
Larry Nance is back. Brad Daugherty got off to the slow start, sitting down. Will Perdue has checked in for the first time. Jordan. And rebounded by Brandon. Well, Brandon, the rookie from Oregon, has played well during the playoffs. Crowd wanted Ehlo to take the shot. There's Sanders for Williams, and he'll go to the line.
Just a little bit of willingness to share the basketball and make the extra pass will produce high percentage shot. Sanders had Jordan posted up down low, was called for the basketball, thought he could pick up a quick foul. Jordan knew he was in danger, went for the steal, missed. A good rotation comes over, but then the next pass produces the free throw opportunities for Hot Rod.
And Hot Rod is now 1 of 5 from the line. He's a 74% free throw shooter.
The battle fatigue worn yesterday after practice by Hot Rod. We were wondering if this was trying to create a certain attitude for this afternoon's game within the locker room.
Bulls lead it 41-21. 24. And the Bulls continue their mastery off the board. B.J. Armstrong was turned back. Pippen with the steal. Took it from Sanders. Armstrong. Rebounded by Brandon.
Well, perhaps Brandon has told the big guys, you put a body on and keep them off, I'll go get the basketball on the defensive glass.
Well, Brandon, a first-round draft pick, was 5'11", 180 pounds. Nance. And the Cavaliers' shooting problems continue. Frank Hodges for Will Perdue. Back come the Cavaliers. Here's Nance. Whoa.
One of the surprising statistics in this series, Cleveland led the NBA this year in block shots for a team. But in this particular series, Chicago more block shots than the Cavaliers.
Pippen does not like the pressure from Sanders, and then met by Nance, and the foul call. That's the first committed by Nance.
Initially, Scottie Pippen looking up at Jake O'Donnell as if to say, hey, Jake, blow the whistle, I need some help here. One guy in the league you don't tell how to officiate the game is Jake O'Donnell. He's the best. He's going to do it his way.
Grant with the pass for Pippen broken up by Sanders.
Sanders just getting that hand in there in time to produce the swipe.
Mike Sanders, waived by Indiana Pacers back in November, was spending most of his time. That foul called on Grant. Sending Ehlo to the floor. Phil Jackson sensing a turn of events, calling for time. It's a 15-point Chicago lead. Cleveland, though, showing some signs. Well, Thursday night in Chicago in Game 2, the Bulls were clobbered by the Cavaliers 107-81, raising many eyebrows around the country. We talked about it with Scottie Pippen.
Well, we're just not as hungry as we were last season, definitely. But, I mean, when we get together and we talk and we go out and play the way that we normally would play, we're fine. But we're just not playing as hungry as we were a year ago. And it's hard to pinpoint and say what it is.
I think it takes a champion and a championship team to recognize when they're not playing it with the same level of intensity, and then they go about correcting it as they've done so far this afternoon.
Obvious miscommunication between the Cavaliers, upset with themselves and wasting a possession. Scott Williams has come on for the first time for Chicago. Pippen with the spin on Sanders, and it's picked off. He tried to hit Williams, who was breaking for the basket.
Well, with this group on the floor for Chicago, as Brandon pulls up and takes an ill-advised jump shot, with this group, this is the opportunity for Cleveland to cut into that 15-point lead and make up some ground while Chicago is resting the majority of their starters.
Yes, the only starter on the floor is Pippen. Michael Jordan sitting down, getting the rest. Shot clock at 5. Pippen. Scottie Pippen with the bucket, and he was fouled.
And that's exactly the reason why Phil Jackson always leaves either Scottie Pippen or Michael Jordan on the floor when he goes to his bench. He expects one of these two people to be the leaders, lead by example. That's where their points are going to come from in most cases. And then when the defense tries to stop the stars, that's where the other players step up and do what they do best. Hodges, the three-point shooter. BJ, terrific open shooter. Paxson, etc.
Foul committed by Nance. Pippen having an excellent first half. 5 rebounds, 3 assists, along with the 11 points. 6.5 remaining. Second quarter. And it will be Chicago ball.
Defensive rebounding. On the free throw line, Chicago gets its share of misses back, and since they're not shooting the ball real well from the foul line, you've got to pay extra special attention to get a body on, and a deep body, so the ball can't bounce out over your head like the last rebound just did.
Brad Daugherty has returned. Good creating the turnover. Price setting up Larry Nance. Yes. Chicago 43 and Cleveland 28. Really feed from Pippen to Williams.
The offense goes through Scottie Pippen. He led this team for the regular season in assists. Michael Jordan was second. John Paxson, considered to be the point guard, plays a different role with this basketball team.
Clock ball, 2:24 being provided for Cleveland.
The skills of being able to put it on the floor, turn the corner, and then make a feed pass for a score. Tremendous ability by Scottie Pippen.
Michael Jordan is back, replacing B.J. Armstrong. Armstrong did not score, and Craig Ehlo comes back to match up with Jordan. Terrell Brandon sitting down. Brad Daugherty has not been able to get into it to this point. Only 1 for 5 from the field. Daugherty with the fake on Perdue, met by Williams. Crowd looking for a foul. Nothing called. Here's Craig Hodges. And the loose ball foul charged to Perdue.
Well, the officials felt that Daugherty took the ball into the defensive player. The rotation's there. Also, the body contact is there. Definitely a foul.
First half. Chicago with a blistering start. Nance with his third field goal. He's hit his last 3. And the Cavaliers now have cut it to a 15-point lead. Chicago has led by as many as 23. They were up by the score of 34-11. Pippen lost it. Here's Daugherty. But Brad Daugherty showing his quickness.
Brad Daugherty has done that at least one time in each basketball game against Chicago. He feels that he can outrun any one of the centers on the Bulls team and pick up an easy score every now and then.
Williams with the recovery. Oh, what a shot. He went to the left hand with the shot clock down to 1.
Well, nowhere to go. Let me get up on the rim and hope for the best.
Price with the pass that is picked off and a foul call. Foul on Sanders, his third.
Daugherty runs the floor as well as any big man in the league. Loves to finish at the end with the dunk, and whether it's Cartwright or Perdue, King, he feels that he can get down there, and if Mark Price, with that great outside range, just pulls up and looks at the front of the rim, the defense has to extend out to him. It opens up that lane for Daugherty.
Brad Daugherty with a 28.9 rebound game Thursday in Chicago. .4:15 remaining in this first half. Jordan with the head fakes. Ehlo gets help from Williams. Jordan finding Perdue. Will Perdue able to convert off the good pass from Michael Jordan.
And there's the complete game of Michael Jordan. A blind double team comes, he feels it, he elevates, and then finds an open teammate.
Price finding Williams. Hot Rod Williams missing another layup. Leading 49-32. Alley-oop for Perdue did not work. Price for 3. And Scott Williams able to rebound. Mark Price on Thursday hit 4 out of 5 from three-point land. Jordan and Hodges now in the backcourt. Pippen, Perdue, and Williams up front. Daugherty with the box out. Nance for Williams. Stopped and tied up. Hot Rod Williams tied up by Scott Williams. And a timeout taken Chicago by 17.
This, as you can plainly see, is Bob Costas in New York. Coming up on the Prudential Halftime Report, we'll preview tomorrow's Game 4 in the Western Conference Finals between Portland and Utah. And we'll visit with a pair of all-stars from the Jazz, John Stockton and Karl Malone. Also, Quinn Buckner will offer his thoughts on the first half of this one between the Bulls and the Cavs. Right now, back to Richfield, Marv Albert, and Mike Fratello. Marvelous.
All right, Bob, Chicago with a 17-point advantage on Cleveland with just under 3 minutes to go in the second quarter.
A few moments ago, to show the great court awareness of Michael Jordan, he draws 3 defensive players from the other team, but Will Perdue finds the open spot, and then only Jordan has the ability against 3 to know where his teammates are and make the right pass.
And we resume with a jump ball. Scott Williams with the block on John Hot Rod Williams. Controlled by Daugherty. Price and Ehlo in the backcourt. Daugherty up front, along with Nance and Williams. Hodges guarding Price. Rebounded by Scott Williams, who has come on and done an excellent job off the board.
Well, he's a factor on the glass. He's a factor at the defensive end by challenging and blocking shots, and then that's that big, wide body of his setting screens to open up the scorers for Chicago.
Scott Williams, in his second year from North Carolina, signed last season as a free agent. Here's Paxson, who just returned. John Paxson with his 3rd field goal. He has 7. The Bulls 51, the Cavaliers 32.
I think most point guards would like to have the job of just kind of float to an open spot, and eventually some guy named Jordan's going to throw you the ball, and you got about 8 seconds to set up and shoot it.
Will Perdue is called for the foul. John Williams back to the line. That's 3 on Perdue.
If Cleveland continues to draw double teams and will make the pass and then take it strong to the glass, they'll have opportunities to pick up points with the clock stopped. And that's most important for them as they try and close the deficit before the half.
Phil Jackson about to insert Stacey King, who was in and out of the lineup against the Knicks in the previous series because of a bout with the flu. So rather than go back to Bill Cartwright, who started despite the strained back, and as you mentioned earlier, you don't want to bring him off the bench and then have to replace him in and out where that back can stiffen up. He goes to Stacey King for Perdue after Perdue picked up his 3rd. Bulls lead 51-34. Chicago opened up a 19-2 lead at the start. Here's Jordan with the step. Rebound Jordan. And he is fouled. The Cavaliers went some 4.5 minutes in the first quarter without a field goal as they had their shooting problems early.
They spread the floor, let Jordan take Ehlo one-on-one. It's basically a 1-4 offense, and Michael Jordan's eyes light up when he sees that spread open court, knowing that Ehlo just does not have the foot speed quickness to guard him in a one-on-one situation.
Ehlo was called for his 2nd foul. That's the first point of the second quarter for Jordan, who sent out a good portion. He had 17 in the first quarter. Michael Jordan presented with his 3rd Most Valuable Player award earlier this week. Only the 7th player in NBA history to be named MVP for 3 years or more. Chicago going with some light pressure. 1:40 remaining in this first half. Nance, made by Williams. Shot clock at 5. Shot clock at 2, so Nance had to shoot it. Rebounded by Daugherty. Rebounded by Brandon. Oh, what a play by, I should say, Battle. John Battle with a terrific play getting inside. And the Bulls now lead 53-36.
The crowd getting a little restless because they want Cleveland to hurry up and get shots up there. But they have to realize there are no 17-point plays out there. It doesn't happen that way. You got to come back a little bit at a time.
Michael Jordan, bothered by Nance. It'll be Cleveland ball. Bulls thought there should have been a foul. Jordan has missed his last 5 field goal attempts. 50 seconds remaining in the half. Battle guarded by Paxson. Does it off the dribble. And Jake O'Donnell with the call. It's on Craig Ehlo.
On the last 5 misses by Michael Jordan, perhaps some of the effects of the virus that had bothered him. He came out with the early burst of energy, but as the game goes on, will it take his toll and wear him down? Are those legs going to go little by little as we move into the second half of play?
Scott Williams to the line. 3 fouls apiece now on Ehlo and Sanders. Williams only a 64% free throw shooter during the regular season. Seconds left in the half. The Bulls 55, the Cavaliers 36.
As soon as they make a free throw, they take the ball out of Price's hands, hope to force turnovers, which they got that time down the floor. The team defense, the extended defense of the Bulls, forcing Cleveland to do something that they really don't want to do. Mark Price is the one that directs this show.
Greg Hodges came up with that steal, and the Bulls playing the clock. 6 on the 24. Jordan able to whip by Ehlo.
Same thing. Spread offense, 1-4. Put Jordan in the middle against Ehlo, and that's a nightmare if you're the defender having to play him one-on-one out there.
And now Ehlo draws the foul. He's blocked by Williams with 6 seconds remaining in the half.
And Scott Williams doesn't agree with it, but that one wasn't even close. Williams slides way over after Ehlo was airborne. There's the body contact.
Greg Ehlo only a 70% free throw shooter. And the Cavaliers, usually an excellent free throw shooting team, having some problems here this afternoon. Final seconds of the half. And Jordan had it knocked away. So halftime at the Coliseum in Richfield in Game 3 of this best of 7 Eastern Conference Final. Michael Jordan leading the way, 7 for 15, 21 points. And the Bulls lead by 20. Chicago 57 and Cleveland 37. Mark Price leading the Cavs with 11. Brad Daugherty with only 7. Coming up, Bob Costas with the Prudential halftime report.
This is the Prudential Halftime Report, brought to you by the companies of the Prudential. In a changing world, one thing remains rock solid, the Prudential.
Halftime of Game 3, the Bulls lead the Cavs by 20, 57-37. Bob Costas back in New York along with Quinn Buckner. Obviously, this is a complete reversal of Game 2 when the Cavs jumped on the Bulls in Chicago, the visiting team doing it on the other's home floor. Look at the scores of the first and second quarter of Game 2. The Cavs were up by 26 as they went to the locker rooms, and it was all but over. The Cavs made a mild move. I think they got back within 15 after the Bulls were up 19-2 and then 22-4, something like that. But at the half, it becomes a 20-point differential. And even more importantly, you could hear the way the crowd was in the game. Marv and Mike could barely be heard when they first came on the air over the sound of the crowd at the Richfield Coliseum, and Michael and company just took them right out of it.
Well, I think the point you make is a very good one. Michael Jordan, you don't tell a guy like Michael Jordan, if you have a cold, you should have stayed home. This is what Craig Ehlo said. And Michael Jordan came out to prove that he had something to do this afternoon. And obviously, he got started with the 21 points. But more importantly, Bill Cartwright did play, and he's the only one that's able to keep Brad Daugherty off the block. Brad only 2 for 7. He had 2 for 8. He had 9 points. But the other thing the Bulls are really doing, they're starting to pass the ball, and you've got to be able to find some people. The most important thing you need to do is be concerned about rotation. Michael Jordan will recognize right now the double team. This spot will open up and has to be defended, as well as this one. And then you have to knock down the shots. Michael Jordan scoring so well, forced the double team. B.J. Armstrong with an opportunity. He swings it right over to Scottie Pippen, knocking down the shot. So those are the things you have to be able to do. And the Bulls did that very well. The other thing, Scottie Pippen is coming with the basketball. He's very aggressive with the basketball today. The defense does not get back to protect this area. When a guy like Scottie Pippen starts going, he can cause problems. Right here, Hot Rod Williams comes to get him. Help comes from Nance. Now you get Williams in the game, Scott Williams. So you get everybody involved, but you don't tell Michael Jordan, if you're sick, you should stay home. Not a good idea.
Well, the point you were making also about Cartwright, it isn't that he can play Daugherty straight up that well. Nobody can. And it isn't guaranteed that he's going to be able to continue doing this. But on the right day or night, what Cartwright can do is he can deny Daugherty that position, and the other centers that the Bulls have aren't strong enough to do it.
Well, not only are they not strong enough, Bob, they force a double team. And if you double team that, you have in Brad Daugherty, one of the best passing centers in all of basketball. And if he swings the ball, you'll see that all of the Cavs can knock down the shot. But you're absolutely right. Neither one of the other guys can keep Daugherty off the block the way that Bill Cartwright can.
Okay, Bulls 57, Cavaliers 37, and up next, Quinn's visit with the terrific twosome of the Utah Jazz, Karl Malone and John Stockton, after this message from Prudential and a word from the NBA. Okay, tomorrow in Utah, Game 4 in the Western Conference Finals between the Trailblazers and the Jazz. Portland leads it 2-1. The big reason why Utah has made it to the conference finals for the first time is the play of Karl Malone and John Stockton, and Quinn Buckner visited with them earlier this week.
In the city of Salt Lake, they dream of an NBA championship. Utah is blessed with a dynamic duo second to none. Point guard John Stockton and power forward Karl Malone are two very separate people interacting with an uncanny sense of what the other can do. One led the NBA in assists. The other was second in scoring. You and John Stockton are as good as anybody in the league. What makes you guys click? Do you have some sixth sense about where you're going to be, how you're going to get the ball?
We don't do a lot of talking during the game, saying, hey, I'm going to be here, I'm going to be there. And we just go out and play. And it's me trusting him and he's trusting me. And sometimes we make mistakes, but then sometimes we make it happen, and it look really great.
Stockton left to right, Carl rolls in. They go to the mailman. Never done.
He's a tremendous player down that block and running the floor. He makes himself so available. Making the pass oftentimes is very easy. Plus, he's got tremendous hands. He can catch anything you throw anywhere near him.
Great pass, laying up and in. The mailman.
Probably if he was picking a team, just Sandlot basketball, if you probably overlook him if you didn't know who he was, because he couldn't play him.
Warriors 3-on-2. Stockton steals the crossover.
They grew up in opposite corners of the country. Stockton was raised in Spokane, Washington, and despite his size and youthful appearance, learned the game quickly.
He's always the smallest guy on the floor, and they really couldn't post you up. They couldn't do anything productive with you, so they put you on the side and said, go ahead and dribble for a while, kid. And so I dribbled it around and kept throwing to the big guys. I'd sneak down to the college gym and try to get in those games as I got older. And if you kept passing to the big guys, they kept picking you.
Karl Malone was a self-professed outdoorsman in his native Louisiana. His desire to own and drive his own truck was much stronger than a career in basketball.
I played basketball because my brothers and sisters played. And I was like the younger boy growing up, so I supposed to keep playing because pretty much all the Malones played.
One sure way to tell this tandem apart is their on-court demeanor. Malone is always the showman, while Stockton remains reserved, the consummate floor leader.
It's nice to have a steadying influence when everybody wants to get up and cheer. The fans are excited. It's a big win, a big basket. I guess it's good to have an equal amount of people on the floor that are just thinking about the next play and trying to keep everything into perspective.
I feed probably off the crowd and off my teammates. And if I do something pretty decent, I like to be acknowledged to some degree to get me to do something else, and Stockton's one of those guys, he just go out and play. And a lot of times he'll come to me and say, hey, you need to do something to get us going,
It's become obvious that you usually can't mention Stockton without mentioning Malone. One sets him up, and the other knocks them down.
we just act off instinct, and it look easy, but it's really not. I don't think we go out there with the idea that, hey, we're probably one of the top 1-2 punches in the league, and I don't know if that's good or bad, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
What about the matchups in this series with the Trailblazers, of course, up 2-1 in Game 4 set for tomorrow afternoon? You've got Porter, who's stepped his game up in the playoffs, even though he had an off night last night. Generally speaking, he's been tremendous. So he's going against Stockton. And Buck Williams, underrated his whole career with both New Jersey and the Trailblazers, trying to contend with the mailman.
Well, it's a tremendous matchup, I think, because what you're talking about, the real point is Buck Williams is able to play Karl Malone a little bit better. But Stockton played, I thought, Porter better last night. But what I like about these two guys, and for our Olympic team, I think this is really important because you don't have a lot of time to prepare to play against the international teams. These two guys instinctively know where each other will be. And with Stockton, you know you've got a guy that can control the tempo. So I think they're a very valuable asset that we have for our Olympic team. And obviously the Utah Jazz are pleased to have them.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that Chuck Daly is going to have them on the floor at the same time, just as they are with the Jazz. They'll probably be on the floor simultaneously almost all the time.
Well, I think that can be, I think it'll be the case, excuse me, Bob, and the reason you mentioned is very important, but I also think that John Stockton is a good enough player that he can run anybody's basketball team. He has this ability to understand what has to be done and when it needs to be done, and not many players in this game really know how to do that.
Okay, we'll come back now with second half action. The Bulls lead the Cavs by 20 at the Richfield Coliseum. And we'll turn it back over to Marv Albert and Mike Fratello after these messages from your local station.
This has been the Prudential Halftime Report, brought to you by the companies of the Prudential. In a changing world, one thing remains rock solid: the Prudential.
Back at the Coliseum in Richfield, the Bulls with a 57-37 lead on the Cleveland Cavaliers, and the Chicago Bulls came out today the way they came out against the Knicks last Sunday in that 7th game in Chicago. They were going at just a furious pace.
Well, perhaps as Scottie Pippen mentioned to us earlier, that there's something this team is missing right now. We're not up the same way as we were a year ago. They need challenges. They need something to motivate them, and perhaps the scare in the last game was enough to get them ready for for today.
Well, they opened up with a 19-2 lead. A look at the shooting in the first half. Today's Miller Genuine Draft halftime stats: the Bulls 22 of 41, 54%. The Cavaliers improving to 34%. They went through almost a 5-minute stretch without scoring a field goal.
Well, if you're Lenny Wilkens, you're talking about defense, and against this guy in particular, Michael Jordan, who had a terrific first half with 21 points. You're talking about rebounding, where they're out-rebounded 25-11, and then let's get Daugherty involved in the offense.
And for more on the Cleveland Cavaliers, let's go over to Ahmad, who is with Cavalier coach Lenny Wilkens.
All right, thanks, Marv. Lenny, I guess one of the things that has to concern you is getting Brad Daugherty more involved.
Well, if they're coming back and double teaming, what we have to do is a better job of spacing and make some shots. If we make some shots, then Brad will get more involved. But we're shooting 34%, and we're really not moving the ball that well.
All right, good luck to you in the second half, Coach. All right, back to you, Marv.
Thanks, Ahmad. Daugherty only 2 of 8 in the first half. Played 22 minutes with only 7 points. We'll be back in a moment. Cleveland with only 18 points in the first quarter, only 19 in the second, down by 20 as we head to the second half. Michael Jordan with 21. He had 17 in the first quarter. Scottie Pippen with an outstanding all-around game, 11 points for Pippen. Mark Price with 11 to lead the Cavaliers. And Daugherty only 2 of 8 for his 7 points.
One number that really jumps out at you in the first half: Chicago 22 points in the paint, up close to the rim. Cleveland only 12. And with that front line of Nance, Williams, and Daugherty, you would think that maybe the Cavs would try and shove it down their throats. And then obviously, as Lenny said, when the pass is kicked out, they've got to knock down some shots.
Nance, yes.
There it is. The double team on Daugherty, the pass out to Nance. He makes the open shot. It seems simple, but that's what it's about.
Pippen pressured by Sanders, Paxson, and Jordan. In the backcourt, Pippen, Cartwright, and Grant up front. Grant trying to return it. Got clock at 6. Pippen, Cavaliers have a 3-on-1. Price Giving it back to Sanders. Tipped home by Daugherty.
Chicago asking for the same offensive goaltending call that was called against Bill Cartwright in the first half.
Bulls 57. Cavaliers 41. We're just underway in the third. Jordan been on a switch, finding Grant. Cartwright fronting Daugherty. Daugherty off the fake.
Cleveland went to a little bit different set that time, so the double teams weren't as easy for Chicago to come after Daugherty.
And Pippen able to get to it. Michael Jordan. Paxson able to get back.
And you saw Paxson move right up outside the three-point line, so Price could not pull up and take the sudden three-point attempt.
Nance. Well, the Cavaliers have had their opportunities here at the start of the third. While looking for a foul, no call made. Ehlo attempting to draw the charge. Bulls lead 59-41.
Well, you mentioned it, if the Cavaliers, and it's if, they could have knocked out a few of those open shots, they'd be right back in this basketball game to start out the second half.
Ehlo going high off glass. The Bulls lead by 16. And Pippen was blocked by Sanders.
Scottie Pippen out in the right lane, and then with the ability to put it down, Ehlo waiting for him. The crowd felt that he was there in plenty of time. They wanted the offensive foul ball, and that's why the reaction on the next play, which is just a small hand check, in their opinion.
Michael Jordan with a spectacular move, and he's complaining because he thought he was fouled. Jordan had to go into his third option with that drive.
That's why he was hanging his third option.
Chicago leads by 18 points. Again, the single coverage. Now here comes Grant over to help. Ehlo for three. Yes. Greg Ehlo, an excellent three-point shooter, scoring on his first from three-point land today.
Ehlo shot over 41% for the three-point line during the regular season.
Nick Pavetta with the call against the Cavaliers. It's on Sanders. That is his fifth. And he'll be replaced by Hot Rod Williams. Lenny Wilkens likes Mike Sanders on the floor for his defensive play. I mentioned earlier he was waived by the Pacers back in November, was spending most of his time playing pickup ball at a health club in Indianapolis. Another foul called on Cleveland. It's on Hot Rod Williams. Mike Sanders, a one-time Cleveland Cavalier. This is his second go-around with the club in his 10th season out of UCLA. Seen service with San Antonio, Phoenix, Cleveland, Indiana, now back to Cleveland.
So what hurts as a head coach, you go in at halftime and you talk to your team about getting pounded on the glass 25-11 like Cleveland did. So your team responds. They come out in the second half. They really go after it. They start cracking some bodies, and then you get a couple whistles that put guys on the bench.
Bulls lead it 62-46. 4 minutes gone by in the third. Nance trying to shake off Pippen. Rebound Williams. And Grant able to get to it. Pippen run into by Nance. That's 3 on Larry Nance.
That time the key was the defensive effort, the second and third jump, secure the basketball, and then the quick outlet pass, which got Pippen and Jordan out on the fast break for Chicago.
Like you mentioned, cracking bodies, things getting a little bit more physical here in the third quarter, not to the extent of a Nick or Detroit. There's Jordan able to beat Ehlo off the spin. Michael Jordan has 25 points.
Well, when all the things take place, like the marshmallow statements, etc., and then suddenly you find yourself down 20 at the half and 18 now here into the third quarter, you're going to bring up your emotional level because you know you're going to hear it again. Michael Jordan, when you catch him down low along the baseline, he has the ability to create and make something happen, and then obviously the ability to put it in the basket. If you give him baseline, you're asking for a headache.
The NBA on NBC is brought to you by the new Mazda. Mazda, it just feels right. By Right Guard Sports Stick, anything less would be uncivilized. And by Coors Light, the silver bullet is the right beer now.
Well, following the first game of this series, the Cavaliers were being referred to as marshmallows and cream puffs and nice guys, particularly coming off that hammering series between the Knicks and the Bulls. But many of the Cavs took exception to those labels, including Coach Lenny Wilkens.
Certainly as a coach, it bothered me a little bit because I thought judgments were passed after one game. And, you know, to win 57 games, we had to do something right. The other thing is that we were being compared with New York. We're not New York. We're a different team. We still came out and played Cavalier defense. We didn't come out and play New York defense. I mean, we didn't have to throw someone down on the floor. You know, we could still be aggressive and play up and deny and do those type of things, you know, and still stick to our game.
The Cavalier defense is a different type of defense. They're a shot-blocking team. They're a team with great size and athleticism up front. They still defend, but in a different way than the New York Knicks, who use a more physical style of play.
Michael Jordan called for the foul. Here's Nance. That's a travel. Basket does not count.
That time the ball was delivered just a little bit too soon, too early. Nance had to take the extra step to get it to the rim.
Well, coming off that hammering series between the Knicks and Chicago, Horace Grant had said, referring to the series with Cleveland, what a pass from Jordan to Grant. And Horace was saying, you know, these are now games, meaning Cleveland versus Chicago, you can take your family to see. Several Bulls players said we're back to playing real basketball, not hockey or football. And that led to all the marshmallow statements. Here's Price. Yes. The Bulls with a 66-48 lead. It counts and the foul. So Pippen will go to the line.
On the last possession for Chicago, they started with a little dribble handoff. Pippen to Jordan to try and force the switch, and then Michael with the reverse and the drop-off, getting his teammates involved. Next possession down the floor, the great concentration. The foul, eyes on the rim, off the glass, opportunity for a three-point play coming up for Scottie Pippen.
Third foul committed by Williams. John Battle is back. Battle of Price in the backcourt. Now they go three guards with Ehlo, Battle, and Price, along with Nance and Williams. Daugherty sitting down. A 21-point lead for Chicago. Pippen has 16 points. Jordan, the high man, with 25. Price leading Cleveland with 13. Make it 16 as he hits the three. For Mark Price, that is his second three-point shot. Bulls 69, the Cavaliers 51. Halfway through the third. Marv Albert, Mike Fratello, Ahmad Rashad from the Coliseum in Richfield. And Michael Jordan continues his onslaught. He now has 27.
And Jordan gave him that fake as if he was going to his right shoulder because of the size difference. Battle had to respect it so much that then he just made his inside turn. It was all over.
Williams draws the foul.
And after Jordan had knocked out the shot, there's a fan up front taunting Jordan, talking to Battle about stopping Michael, and after he knocks it down, just to let the guy know that he means serious business, he sends a little message over to the front row spectators.
We have seen this in in recent years of Jordan's career, he gets himself read by fighting little mini battles along the way, be it Spike Lee in New York, who sits at courtside, and although he is very friendly with Jordan, is a diehard Knick fan, or just a fan along the way. Michael Jordan continues the conversation as the Bulls move to the front court.
It's a challenge for him. They say he's the best practice player in the NBA because he just loves the competition. He loves to compete. He loves to win.
Scottie Pippen has 18, and the Bulls have a 73-53 lead. 5.5 remaining, third quarter.
You might pass that off as a small statement, the best practice player in the NBA, but when your best player is your best practice player, it helps to bring the level of intensity up for all the players in the practices.
Ehlo and Jordan now having some words. They came together after that last basket. Ehlo with the intercept, and he was fouled by Cartwright, and things suddenly getting a little bit testy here.
Because the Cavalier players know that if this game ends this way, with them losing by 20, 25 points, that they don't want to get up and read the newspapers tomorrow morning.
22nd timeout has been called by Lenny Wilkens with 5 minutes, 3 seconds remaining in this third quarter. And the Bulls up by the count of 73-55. A reminder, tomorrow it'll be Portland and Utah with the Western Conference Final Series resuming here on NBC, starting at 3 o'clock Eastern Time with Showtime. And then Clyde Drexler and his Trailblazers going up against Karl Malone and the Utah Jazz. The Jazz winning last night at the Delta Center in Salt Lake City. So Portland now up 2 games to 1. This a game that opened up with the Bulls jumping to a 19-2 start. They led by as many as 23 in the first half. Cleveland could not hit a shot. They managed only 2 field goals out of their first 13. They've had a couple of runs, but they are still trailing by the big margin. Here's Williams. Cartwright Williams has had a very long day. 1 for 6 from the field, 6 for 10 from the foul line.
If you're Cleveland right now and you're down 18 points with over 4 minutes remaining in the third quarter, you set mini goals for yourself. You go into your timeout and you say, look, let's get this thing down to a workable number. If we can cut it to 10 to 8 by the end of this quarter, we're in good shape to make a run in the fourth quarter.
5 on the 24. Pippen with the driving hook, rebounded by Ehlo. With a pull-up. Yes. 12 points for Craig Ehlo. The Bulls 73, the Cavaliers 57. Cavaliers staying with the matchup battle. Playing Jordan. Ehlo now on Pippen. Here is Jordan. Michael Jordan has 29. The Bulls extend to a 75-57 lead.
To cut this lead down to that manageable or workable number, you've got to stop him at the defensive end.
Here's Battle. It will be Chicago ball. Phil Jackson now has Paxson and Jordan in the backcourt with Pippen, Cartwright, and Williams up front, although, as usual, Pippen will handle the ball quite a bit.
Just a little different way to get the isolation created for Michael Jordan.
Paxson shooting. John Paxson has had the touch. He's hit on 4 out of 5. He has 9 points.
The Bulls started Michael Jordan on the low right side of the floor. The ball started on the left sideline, and then they just sent Cartwright after him on a diagonal screen to get him into the spot down low on ball side.
Cartwright Williams not able to provide the finishing touch throughout the day. Set up on the pick and roll, but could not convert. Jordan, yes, 31 for Jordan. The Bulls 79 and the Cavaliers 57.
And that time after Michael knocked that jumper down, he talked to no one other than himself on the way back. Talking to himself about the fact that his shot is back.
Jordan called for the foul, and a timeout is taken by Chicago.
I'm Rashad back at Richfield Coliseum. I'm joined now by Vice President, General Manager Wayne Embry. Now, even though the Cavs are having a tough time right now, you had an excellent season, won 57 games, and one of the major reasons was your acquisition of Mike Sanders.
Well, Mike was released by Indiana, and he stayed there most of the season, and we were in search of someone that could come in and play the small forward for us, and when we had an injury to Craig Ehlo, it gave us an opportunity to bring someone in. Mike was the guy.
How do you explain the way this series is going back and forth like this?
Well, it's the playoffs, and things aren't looking good for us right now, but there's still time in this game, and it's going to be a long series.
All right, Wayne, thanks a lot for joining me.
Thank you.
All right, Marv.
Wayne Embry, Executive Vice President, General Manager of the Cleveland Cavaliers, in his days as a player, in particular with the Boston Celtics, referred to as widely. Did not want to get in the way of one of his picks. Michael Jordan on fire. He has 33. Chicago is in 9 of its last 10 from the field.
And I think that Wayne Embry and the Cavalier organization should be given credit for the fact that during the tough seasons, which were only caused by the injuries of some of the key guys, they stayed with their nucleus. What they knew was eventually going to help them win a lot of basketball games. And it takes a lot of guts and credit to do that type of thing with the pressure that can be put on you by the public to get wins immediately. They were able to see down the road with some very good young basketball players.
Here's Nance, and he was hacked. Yes, last year the Cavs went 33-49, next to last in the Central. They went down when Mark Price suffered his knee injury, devastated by the loss of Price, and that injury had a domino effect. That Craig Ehlo was forced into a starting role, did not shoot well. Backcourt partner last year, Darnell Valentine, who was rescued from the Mexican Basketball League. And they had a host of injuries, and what a turnaround this season as they go 57-25, tied with Portland for the second best record behind Chicago.
You just continue to amaze me. Now you are covering the Mexican.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, I'm told there is a spot there, though in a coaching mode. They're looking for someone with NBA experience and color commentary experience. You know anyone? Hot Williams. So the Bulls lead at 81-63. And Williams fouled by Daugherty. Brad Daugherty committing his first.
Penalty situation.
An adjustment that Cleveland made was to get up on pick and rolls and be aggressive against Michael Jordan. Don't let him get a good look. The trap as he came off the last screen.
Scott Williams has 7 points. He would have to be considered as the unsung hero in today's game as Will Perdue checks back in. Here's Perdue up front with Williams and Grant. Scott Williams hitting 4 of 4 from the foul line. Bulls lead by 20.
When Phil Jackson began to use Scott Williams on a regular basis at the end of last season ahead of Stacey King in some very critical moments, he was asked why this, go with this rookie, and his answer was because we feel safe with him. He doesn't make many mistakes. He's very consistent in his play, and we have a lot of faith and confidence in him. So Phil Jackson played the guy that he felt safe with, and it's been very productive for the team.
And he really did come on during the playoffs, very effective in the championship series against the Los Angeles Lakers. Brad Daugherty now 3 of 4 from the line. He was fouled by Will Perdue, who picked up his 4th. Only 10 points for Brad. With pressure by the Cavaliers, but Perdue able to work the baseline. 40 seconds remaining in the third quarter. Brandon guarding Armstrong. Ehlo back on Jordan, able to slice his way through. Williams kept it alive. Scott Williams getting it back out.
Now Chicago will go to their spread attack. They'll put BJ out behind that three-point line, put Michael in the middle with the basketball. He'll try to take Ehlo off the dribble and then create a shot for the shooter, which is Armstrong, or take it himself.
Now Hot Rod Williams gets to it. Time is running down here in the third. Brandon delivers to Daugherty. Brad Daugherty also thought he was fouled. That's the end of 3. Michael Jordan with 12 of his 33 here in the third. And the Bulls up 83-66. We'll be back after these messages and a word from your local station.
This copyrighted telecast of the National Basketball Association may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of the NBA.
It is on to the fourth quarter. Game 3 of the best of 7. Eastern Conference Final, and they are on their feet here at the Richfield Coliseum, trying to spark the Cavaliers, who trail 83-66. Michael Jordan 7 for 22. Scottie Pippen 4 of 14 back game 2 on Thursday, and both have dramatically turned it around here this afternoon. The Bulls led by Jordan, who has 33. Scottie Pippen with a superb all-around performance. Jordan found Perdue, and he was clobbered by Daugherty.
Well, Lenny Wilkens mentioned at halftime that the one thing they had to do was shoot the basketball better, shooting only 34% at the half. At the end of 3 quarters, they have shot it just a little bit better, up to 40%.
Will Perdue to the line for the first time.
This Cleveland Cavalier team, normally during the regular season, 5th best shooting team in the NBA, just around 49%. But again, the Bulls defense, that quickness, the scrambling, they force you to take shots that you don't want to take, or they force you to hurry shots that you want to take.
Cavaliers with a backcourt of Brandon and Ehlo, Nance, Daugherty, Williams up front. They double up on Daugherty. Nance. Rebounded by Daugherty, took it out of the hands of Perdue. The Bulls lead by 16. Jordan and Armstrong now at the guards. Perdue, Grant, Williams up front. Armstrong wide open. Once again, the Cavaliers with an opportunity to cut into that Chicago lead. Shot clock at 5. Brandon wide open. Yes. The Bulls 84. Cavaliers 70. And now Lenny Wilkens wants a couple of stops. Crowd back into it. Jordan, rebounded by Williams. Brandon off the dribble. Yes! Phil Jackson wants to talk it over. The Cavaliers have moved within 12.
Miller Genuine Draft presents Genuine Moments.
Today's Miller Genuine Draft Genuine Moment focuses on the shot by Michael Jordan that beat the Cavaliers in the 5th and decisive game to eliminate Cleveland back in the 89 Eastern Conference first round. Certainly a shot memorable to both the Chicago Bulls and the the Cleveland Cavaliers as you look back on the history of the rivalry between these two franchises. In recognition of that great moment, Miller Genuine Draft will donate $1,000 to the Thurgood Marshall Scholarship Fund. Well, the Bulls led by as many as 23. It is now down to a 12-point lead. Scottie Pippen extends to a 14-point margin. Bulls 86 and the Cavaliers 72.
A well-used timeout by Phil Jackson and the Chicago Bulls. Regroup, reorganize. Let's get a good shot for one of our superstars, and then Pippen knocks it out.
Great Ehlo tried to throw the foul on Scott Williams, and Williams wanted to go at Ehlo and was held back by Jordan.
Well, some of the off-the-ball action is what started that body contact, the little pushes and shoves that you're not paying attention to because the ball's not there. Under the basket, with the baseline screens being set, there's the rest of the match, and then the takedown.
Foul on Williams, his third. Ehlo did draw the personal. Daugherty able to get it back. Here's Brandon off the loose ball. And Grant with the rebound. Armstrong. Yes. The Bulls 88. The Cavaliers 72. 3 minutes have gone by in the fourth quarter. And a wet spot on the floor will be checked out by the officials.
Just a moment ago, the battle down low. Ehlo trying to set the baseline screen right there. The shove, the hold, and then the throw to the floor by Scott Williams. And then Williams trying to follow up. Little point of emphasis there.
Point of emphasis. A rookie from the University of Oregon, #1 draft pick, Terrell Brandon, receiving the playing time in the fourth quarter. He's played well.
As Brandon switched hands and tried to make the left-hand layup, all it did is it could have been a 12-point deficit. Instead, back up to 16.
Shot clock at 1. Nance gets it away in time, and he drew the foul. A block charge to Pippen. That's the third on Pippen. Nance to the line. He is 2 of 2 from the foul line. Cavaliers 18 of 24 from their line. That's below their usual proficiency. The Bulls 88 and the Cavaliers 74. Game 4 of this series here at the Coliseum Monday afternoon. We'll be on hand to bring it to you starting at 3 Eastern time with Showtime. Jordan way off. Ehlo looking for the 3. Changed his mind. Williams, yes. Hot Rod Williams, who has not been hitting the shot, brings Cleveland within 12. Shot clock at 5. Here's Pippen. That's 2-point range. Scottie Pippen has 22.
And Cleveland once again knocking on the door. They have their opportunity. They play good enough defense to get that shot clock down inside 5 seconds, but then Pippen answers again. There's another perimeter gem.
Now Daugherty working on Williams. Nice fake. Rebounded by Grant. Now Daugherty 5 for 13. Pippen with the step. And called for the traveling violation.
And Scottie Pippen grabbed the ankle, same one which he had injured. The right ankle of Scottie Pippen turned once again. Pippen goes left, makes the strong drive move, and now as he tries to elevate right there, the foot catches, he turns the ankle.
Pippen indicating to the Bulls bench that he is trying to hang in, look to walk it off. Hot Rod Williams getting it out to Craig Ehlo. Hits the 3. 17 for Ehlo. That's his second from downtown. And Cleveland down by only 11. 6:48 remaining in the fourth, and the Bulls lead is down to 11.
NBA on NBC is brought to you by Toyota, reminding you to always buckle up. Do it for those who love you. By Domino's. Call Domino's Pizza right now for our hot, delicious, better-than-ever pizza. And by Miller Lite. It's everything you want a beer to be. Miller Lite. It's it, and that's that.
Your typical scene outside an NBA arena, sheep grazing outside the Coliseum here in Richfield.
Well, where are we? She's outside.
All right, let's go to Ahmad.
All right, Marbury, you just saw Scottie Pippen twist that ankle just a while ago. I checked with Chip Schaefer, the trainer. He said that Scottie's all right, and as you can see, he's still in the game.
The Cavaliers are very much back into the game. 6.5 remaining in the fourth. They've cut that 23-point lead down to 11. The shot clock is at 6. Out of 3. Out of 1. Nance not able to hit. It's rebounded by Pippen. And Pippen is fouled. We've seen very little of the Bulls operating in the open floor in the second half. That was a rare occurrence.
And Scottie Pippen certainly bouncing back from the earlier ankle injury, taking it off the glass, leading the fast break. To show you the concern of Phil Jackson for that run that the Cavaliers made, he brought Bill Cartwright back into the game, figuring that they were going to come out, go to Brad Daugherty, and try to make Chicago pay the price down low inside. He went to his best guy as far as post defense, biggest body that could match up against Daugherty. And that's with Cartwright with the bad back sitting out a long number of minutes on the bench.
So Scottie Pippen hits 1 of 2. The Bulls 91. The Cavaliers 79. Mark Price has checked back in. Lenny Wilkens staying with Terrell Brandon. Brandon off the fake, gets it right back out. Price for 3. Rebounded by Nance and then knocked away, but a loose ball foul charge to the Cavaliers. It is on Cartwright.
And Mark Price looked over to Brandon and gave a little nod and said, good idea, I just rushed the shot a little bit too much.
Third team foul committed by Chicago. Cleveland with 2. 6 minutes remaining in the fourth. Price using the screen, then goes back to Nance. Nance 5 for 14 from the field. The Cleveland front line is not shot well. Brandon able to pick it off. Brandon has been one of the sparks for the Cavaliers. Here in the fourth, it's down to a 10-point Chicago lead.
Well, what Lenny Wilkens has done by bringing Brandon in the game with Mark Price, you now have Price as the shooting guard, the spot-up guy. He's hoping that Brandon can dribble, penetrate, and kick it out for 3. Instead, John Paxson sends his own 3 down.
And Paxson has 12. The Bulls lead 94-81. They doubled up on Price. 5 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter. Price was looking for Nance coming for the hoop. Williams with a wild shot. He thought he'd draw the foul.
It's a couple times this afternoon that Hot Rod Williams has made his move and just been a little out of control, not able to finish at the offensive end.
Look at the Cleveland front line shooting. Pippen stopped by Williams. Hot Rod 3 of 10. Daugherty 5 of 13. Nance 5 of 14. B.J. Armstrong with his second field goal. He has 4 points. Timeout taken by the Cavaliers. The Bulls extend to a 15-point lead with 4:33 left in the fourth.
Yes, this is one of the loudest arenas in the NBA, and one of the reasons for all this noise is the Kosar family. I'm joined now by Bernie Kosar. Bernie, it's your mother's birthday. This is Jerry, and you forgot to tell the Cavs.
Well, we're eternal optimists here in the Kosar family, so we're still hoping for the best, Ahmad.
Well, all these loud people here, it's a little bit different than the Dog Pound. These people are a little more civilized, but it's loud.
It's the same enthusiasm as the Dog Pound.
All right, well, we wish the Cavs well, and happy birthday to you, Jerry. All right, Mark.
Thanks, Ahmad. Here's Nance with the driving hook. So the Bulls now lead 96-83. We approach 4 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter. The closest the Cavaliers have been able to come. They moved within 10. They were down 91-81. They trailed by as many as 23. Nance with the steal. Cavaliers back to Price and Ehlo in the backcourt. Price able to work his way down. And Price gets to it on the follow, and he's hit by Grant. And that is number 5. Committed by Horace Grant for the Bulls, their 4th team foul. I mentioned a moment ago that the Cleveland front line has not done it. Combined 36% shooting for Nance, Daugherty, and Williams. Ehlo trying to shake off Jordan. Williams, yes. Well, Hot Rod is in a couple from the outside, and Cleveland is now trailing by 11.
Right now, Cleveland needs to force a few turnovers, get a block shot, make something happen with his defense, and get this thing down under the double-digit deficit that it's been most of the afternoon.
Would you repeat that?
Double-digit deficit, yes.
Michael Jordan has not scored here in the fourth quarter. He has 33 points in all, setting up Grant. Beautifully done by Jordan. Michael came out very strong, 17 points in the first quarter. The Bulls jumping to a 19-2 lead. Williams, 16 for John Hot Rod Williams. The Bulls 98, Cavaliers 87. Time running down though on the Cavaliers with 2:35 remaining in the fourth. The Bulls seeking to go up 2-1, game number 4 here at the Coliseum Monday afternoon. Ehlo able to strip Jordan. Jordan thought he was fouled. Nice touch pass, Daugherty from Williams. And it is now Chicago 98, Cleveland 89. The last time the lead was single digits was back early in the first quarter, when Chicago led 10-2, an 8-point margin. Here's Jordan hit by Ehlo.
A little easier to say single digit than double digit, isn't it?
Well, you have to know your limitations. Isn't that what coaches constantly point out?
Stay within the framework
of
the team offense.
Absolutely. Cartwright had it knocked away, then recovered, lost to Price. Great for the Cavaliers. Daugherty. Cut to 7. And Phil Jackson calls for time. Well, Cleveland in the midst of a 10-2 run to trim that Chicago lead to 7 points.
Something had to happen from the Cleveland defense. The loose ball on the floor. Cartwright comes up with it, but then hands it over to the wrong person. Price to Daugherty, the big man, running and finishing for Cleveland. The crowd's in it. There's plenty of time left in the basketball game.
Chicago, 3 timeouts remaining. Cleveland with 3. A minute, quarter to go in the fourth. Here's Jordan. Foul by Ehlo. That's 5 on Greg Ehlo. Michael Jordan will go to the line. Jordan is 6 of 6 from the foul line. Huge first quarter. Big third quarter. Jordan with his 34th point.
Perhaps it's that rest that he got at halftime prior to the game. Obviously rested, came out, exploded in the first quarter, but this gentleman was sick in game number 2. Some type of virus. Has not picked up the basketball since the end of game 2, so obviously not fully recovered yet.
In unusual fashion, came out early to shoot prior to the regular warm-ups. Told us that he is feeling much better, although still bothered slightly by the sore throat. Here's Nance. That was deflected. Horace Grant got a piece of it.
That time, one too many passes by the Cleveland Cavaliers. The shot should have been taken right in front of the rim by Hot Rod Williams. Instead, he dropped it off to Nance.
Chicago with the ball and a 9-point lead as we come up on 1 minute left in the fourth. Jordan finding Williams. Michael Jordan with a sensational play. He drew the actually a triple team.
Try that again.
And Daugherty had it knocked out. Knocked out of his hands. As I said, stay within your limitations. And a timeout has been called with 53 seconds remaining in the fourth.
Michael Jordan hiding down along the baseline for Chicago, makes his little move to catch the ball, and then after he catches it, he uses a little escape dribble just to clear enough room to get a shot off. There's the escape dribble when he elevates 3 defenders, and then the drop-off pass at the end to Scott Williams for the jam.
Down to 53 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter. The Bulls 102 of the Cavaliers 91. Michael Jordan 35 points, 6 rebounds, and 9 assists. Game 4 here at the Coliseum Monday afternoon, Memorial Day, starting 3 p.m. Eastern Time with showtime. The Bulls with 3 full timeouts remaining. Cavaliers have 2. Nance for deep. 18 for Nance. 102-93 Chicago. And the Bulls call for time. Down to 49 seconds to go. We'll be back in a moment. Chicago ball as we resume. Michael Jordan leading the way with 35. Scottie Pippen with 23 points. Foul called on John Williams. 13 for Grant, 12 for Paxson. A solid game off the bench for Scott Williams. He had 10. Cleveland with the poor shooting first half. They did pick it up in the second half, but the front line of Lenny Wilkens did not put forth their usual type performance. Did not shoot well. Nance 7 for 17. Daugherty 7 of 15. Williams 5 of 12.
And I'm sure that when they go back and review the tapes of today's game, the first thing Lenny will bring up is the aggressiveness on the glass. They must get on the glass with that big front line of theirs. Secure rebounds, limit Chicago's second shot opportunities. And you mentioned that Michael Jordan leading the way in scoring. When you consider the fact that 29 of his points have come in quarters 1 and 3, not bad for just a half a game.
And Cleveland has been blistered off the boards. In the first half, Chicago had a 25-11 edge. Crowd looking for a foul against Chicago, as was Mark Price. And B.J. Armstrong in deliberate fashion able to get it down. 20 seconds remaining in the game. So the Chicago Bulls will take a 2-1 lead in this best of 7 with Game 4 here at the Coliseum on Monday afternoon. We will have it starting 3 o'clock Eastern Time with showtime. Horace Grant with 15. The Bulls led by as many as 23. Ehlo again hits the 3. Cleveland did make a run, but Chicago able to hold on, and they win it in convincing fashion. Final score, the Bulls 105, and the Cavaliers 96. Michael Jordan, the high man, with 36, while Cleveland was led by Craig Ehlo, who had 20. Marv Albert, Mike Fratello, Ahmad Rashad saying so long from Richfield. Now to Bob Costas.
All right, we just have about 5 minutes here before we bid you adieu for this day, and we're back here, of course, tomorrow with the Jazz and the Trailblazers. Quick wrap-up thought?
You can't embarrass any team, and the Bulls got embarrassed the last game, and they came back playing hard enough trying to show the Cavaliers, we're the world champions. You got to beat us. You got to beat us in the 7-game series.
What, if anything, does it mean that the Cavaliers made a run in the fourth quarter and actually were a basket or two away from actually making it interesting?
Well, they actually did that in the first game, too. They played pretty well, and then down the stretch, they played badly the first quarter. Then down the stretch, they took some of the good play they had to build on. They knew that there's places they could get the ball, places to force Michael Jordan. They'll use some good points of this game. They better use the good points because the bad points obviously got them in trouble.
I'm going to take this opportunity to speak on the air here with our producer, Ricky Diamond. You won't see or hear him, but I've got him in my ear here. Scottie Pippen is standing by. Is Marv interviewing him, or are we interviewing him? We are. Okay, Scottie, Bob Costas and Quinn Buckner in New York. We didn't even let you wipe off the sweat, but we've only got a few minutes here. It must feel good to put that Game 2 nightmare behind you.
Well, it was great. It was a frustrating loss in Game 2, but today we came out, we pushed the ball, we did what we wanted to do, we executed our offense.
Scottie, you did a good job you did a good job early. You came out and you played defensively. What were you trying to do with Brad Daugherty?
Well, I think basically what we're trying to do is after Brad put the ball on the floor is to get a double team on him, make him have to make decisions with the ball. And I thought our defensive rotation did a real good job of getting to the next pass where it was made it tough for him to find somebody open.
Scottie, how badly has the Bulls' pride been hurt as a team by the fact that the Knicks roughed you up a little bit and took you to 7, then the Cavs come into your building and embarrass you in Game 2, and maybe they mouth off a little bit out of frustration or whatever? Were you guys revved up?
It's kind of tough for me to hear you guys, but I think basically it was a very frustrating loss, and we wanted to come back and sort of shake that loss off today and come out and play hard and give our best. We embarrassed ourselves, we embarrassed the city of Chicago, and we wanted to come back and get that out of our system.
You have a sense, Scottie, that this is going to be a tougher ride to championship number 2 than last year, en route to your first championship. You've already lost 4 times. Last year, only 2 defeats in the playoffs. And if you get by the Cavaliers, either Utah or Portland will be tough. This isn't an easy ride.
Well, it's going to be tough for us throughout. I think the basic thing we got to do is, within our team, we got to want it a little bit more. Last year, we was very hungry for a championship. And this season, we're just trying to coast through it. And I think what we got to do as a team is get a little bit more aggressive and come out and play harder as if we won our first championship and not our second.
Scottie, how much of a toll has this season been on you? You know, last year you kind of snuck up and won the championship. This year you're going out. Everybody knows that you're the world champions, and they're making you play harder. How much of a toll has that taken on you guys this year?
Well, it's taking a tough toll on us because everybody's now scouting us, knowing what we wanted to do, stopping our execution, but we're still coming out playing hard. It's going to be tough for us to win than what it was last year, and we realize that. And that's why we play a lot better on the road than we do at home, because we be geared up for teams and trying to take their fans out of the game.
Scottie, one last quick question before we let you go. How much is fatigue a factor? This series is now on an every-other-day schedule and would be all the way through a week from tomorrow if it went 7. You've had the sprained ankle. How tired are you and your teammates?
Well, this is pretty tough. I'm pretty tired, but we want to win another championship. So I think the 5 guys that are playing heavy minutes are going to go out and give 110% no matter how many minutes we play. I think our benches came through for us and gave us a lot of relief, and giving them credit. I think Phil is doing a good job of rotating us in and getting us rest, but we want it bad enough. We'll survive through the storm.
Scottie, thanks very much. We'll see you back at it Monday afternoon for Game 4 at the Richfield Coliseum. It's Game 4 from the Delta Center tomorrow. The Jazz and the Trailblazers, 3 Eastern time with showtime for Quinn Buckner. I'm Bob Costas. We'll see you.